Yep.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Big Jim's House. Big Jim O'Brien here, Aaron V, and ladies and gentlemen, 8,500 champions, Takuma Sato. Hey! Will it ever get old hearing that you're the Indy 500 champion?
Well, there was the massive cheering, yes.
The massive cheering, yes. I want to play it back again because I love your reaction at the end of this. Here it comes.
Yeah, that was a screaming yes.
At what point, though? I mean, we always hear this when we talk about racing, but at what point did you realize I've just won the Indy 500? Is it on the front stretch when you can see the finish line, or you weren't gonna jinx it at all?
Just the moment you're going through the checkered flag, that's the time you really realize you actually won the race. And then went to the turn one, back of the throttle, so the engine's going to the quiet, and the whole crowd, you can hear all the cheering from the outside. And I was going to say thank you for all the team crews through the radio,
right.
But I couldn't say anything either Japanese or English, so I just decided to scream.
How mentally tired are you after a race like that?
It's exhausting. I mean, it's just mentally, you concentrate so much over the course of the 3 hours, and physically there is some tiredness, but I mean, it's just mentally more exhausting.
Are you aware of what's going on with some of the other teams when you're out there? I mean, we obviously with Alonso and some of the engine failures and what was going on with the other teams.
Yeah, pretty much aware that everything is happening, but I don't know specific reason for it. But
right.
Obviously, you can see it's some failure related, and hopefully it's nothing happened. I mean, nothing you can do while you're driving. You got to trust what you forgot and communicate with engineers, communicate with spotter, and you just putting the best environment possible for yourself to finishing the race.
I know, Aaron's we're both racing fans, and when we talk about that, the Detroit Grand Prix, obviously you'll be here this DetroitGP.com. I would encourage everyone to check out the website as well, and then here for the auto show as well, for the North American International Auto Show, where you can go check out the car. Aaron and I have been drooling over the new car. It's so pretty.
It's beautiful.
It is cool, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
It's very cool. Low and wide, and somewhat you can see there's some retro or classic with modern, current formula. So looking really good.
When do you get time? I would assume you really haven't had a lot of seat time in this yet?
No, not yet. We just done a system check, that's it. And with the proper testing coming on in 2 weeks' time in the Sebring in Florida. And that's our first track test.
So now you're going to be driving number 30, right? Rahal, Letterman,
Yes.
Lanigan Racing this year, back with those guys. And with Honda and Chevrolet, it's great for the sport to see that competition between them.
Absolutely. I mean, last few seasons, not only for the engine manufacturers, but also there's aero package was a very, very stiff competition, which made the series a lot more exciting for sure. But this 2018 new Universal kit, it just go back to the clean sheet of the papers and working on everything on the bits and to making it making progress. That's really the name of the sport. It's a big challenging for the engineering as well as the driver has to accommodate new package. So it's going to be a very exciting year.
With the new package on the car, it seems like it's going to level the playing field a little bit more as far as the car is concerned. So how much more will go back to the skill of the driver versus the car itself?
Right. I think you will see, when DW12 was launched back in 2012, that was like the big competition race, and I think you will see very similar things. The problem in the last few seasons was some of the track venue was some manufacturer was the more favorite and the least favorite, and that was tough for us, in terms of over the course of the season. But now the short ovals and big super speedways and street course, road course, basically is very, very equalized. So I think in the drivers and engineering is more on the weight for that. I think the driver has to working really hard.
You were talking, and I know one of the things we were curious about was with the new package, and obviously you haven't had a chance to really run it yet, but I know one of the things that everybody was efforting towards was you weren't getting that, you don't want to have that parachute effect. Like when you would pull out, you have the better car, but when you pull out to go past someone, all of a sudden, what is it like? Is it like a parachute? Is that what it feels like?
Yeah, we call tow or slip streaming or something. You know,
Right.
the car in front obviously having a lot of the drag, air drag. Now, of course, the drag reduction is the same amount, but the biggest problem was when you've been took away from the airs, you know, fresh airs. Basically, you lose the downforce, and there is a huge the balance shift in terms of the in the car.
Right.
And it's very difficult to follow the car because this is a very sophisticated aerodynamics. The car.
That's that dirty air they talk about.
Yes,
right? Okay,
yes,
okay.
turbulence.
All
So, but this new car working more floor rather than top of the wings. So that means even you're in the tow situation, yes, you lose the downforce, but yet you have more speed because obviously you're less drag. And now the balance shift is supposed to be smaller than the last few years package. So hopefully we have more cross racing. That means it's basically always very exciting.
But you think too, like at a course like Belle Isle, all your brake points are changed, right, with this new car. So
Yeah.
you have to relearn all the tracks as well on some level.
Because in the road course package, we've been told about 20% of reduction in downforce from last year.
Wow.
Which is that means automatically in straight line speed, I think we will see them a lot faster, probably 10% faster than last year maybe. But then you don't have a much downforce than like last year, so you ultimately your braking point is become much earlier. That means the timing or actual time for the actual braking timing is longer. That means more overtaking opportunity. So it's going to be hard, but I think it's a more exciting race.
Joe, I know we watch F1. I remember Ricardo said something last year that just startled me. He said the cars racing in F1 was 75% car, 25% driver. He felt like there was a point where he was just driving a slot car. What you're talking about now and what we're going forward with IndyCar is the impetus is really on you to see
Yes.
how deep you want to push this car into a turn, which makes for more exciting racing for us.
True. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, that's the nature of the motor racing. I mean, that's the downside, because basically we as a driver try to bring the car up to the speed near 100%. But unfortunately, we cannot drive faster than what the car can do.
Right.
That's the really difficult part. So if physically the car has some already advantage or disadvantage, the driver cannot feel all of them. But if equipment-wise is very similar to what everybody has, then you can win even the back of the grid. Even you can win from the one-car team to compete to the some of the other 5 cars team. So that was what IndyCar's very exciting on-track actions. That's a significant difference from the Formula One. Whether that was good or not, it's depending on how prospective you look at the sport.
Right.
But I do love what an exciting series in IndyCar is, because it's so many overtaking actions, and in fact it's American dream. You can win from the back of the grid and winning Indy 500. That's fantastic.
That's
Was the Indy 500? I think there was 35 lead changes in the 500 last year.
Yes.
35 lead changes.
And even then, the point of you guys when you're trimming out these cars during the race, ultimately at the end of the race, it's how much downforce you want to take off that car to get some extra speed, right?
It's true, yes. When you're leading a race, you want to have the least amount of the downforce because you want to go faster. But if you are following somebody, you need some downforce. So it's always a game. Also, don't forget about ambient temperature too. The last year in the Indy 500 started with a really crowded and kind of a little bit cooler conditions, so
Right.
that even a less downforce package, basically you have more downforce because the identity. But towards the end of the race, the sun's come out and the track temperature raised up, so the tire getting more degradation, then therefore you need more downforce. So it's not always the cars go faster because it's less downforce. It has to be really calculated and to talk through the tire degradation as well. So everything is a balance. But I think the team and all the mechanics and the engineer working really, really hard, and last year it pulled everything come together.
So your teammate's Graham Rahal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why, are you just going to pick his brain because he took everything last year, didn't he? He took both races,
Yeah, they try me.
practices,
yes.
dinner. He took clothing off people. I mean, the guy won everything. He was dominant.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
You're like, I'm here to learn from Graham.
Yes.
How much will you ask him though? I mean, you guys are so close during the racing. It's not like he's going to tell you something you don't know.
Well, no, but we share. You know, as a
Right.
teammate, every single teammate. I mean, it's a healthy competition, of course, during the team, because you basically share the data, but you share the equipment too. So you don't want to be beaten. But equally, you need to help each other to raise the whole level for the team. And that's the whole idea. So the Graham done an outstanding job, you know, considering there was a one-car team through the entire season, last couple of seasons. But so engineering-wise, the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan racing is a really strong one. That's what I believe. And you know, if we can share the good car together, we can definitely move forward. So while he was basically dominant on the Detroit Grand Prix in the last couple of seasons, hopefully we can repeat the same fashion.
Are you going to, when you win Indy again this year, are you going to get a new NSX from Honda?
Yes.
Okay, good. I think we can get that. Why not? You know, and then if you win Belle Isle, then you take those races and you can get Roger to get your Chevrolet, and it's win-win.
Yeah, it's win-win.
Get a ZL1 out of him, you'd be fine. So, what car do you want to see at the auto show? Is there any that you?
Oh, there's tons of time. I mean, this is the biggest the auto show in North America. And in fact, I was just jump on the airplane from the Narita airport yesterday, and I just arrived last night from Tokyo, because I was attending another auto show in Tokyo too. So there's lots of supercars and also new features, you know, for the futuristic cars, and there's lots of things happening. So I'm really interested in all the cars.
Now, I know there was a huge, when you went overseas, there was a huge response when you went back to Tokyo. But the coolest thing you got to do was hang out with the guy that did Pen Pineapple Apple Pen. I saw that picture. That was awesome. And you got like 40,000 likes on that thing. I'm like, man, that dude is huge.
I know, that was a big hit, wasn't it?
You said there's some folks online?
Yep, we have some Facebook Live messages. Chuck says, I watched you at the Detroit Grand Prix. You are exceptionally talented. And then we got a message from Tony Palmer. Says, Grant Palmer from Missouri wanted to say hello. He's in school now, but he enjoyed meeting you at Gateway and at the Microsoft store, and he hopes to race with you one day.
Yes, he was very fast at the Microsoft the store, so it was a good to see him. Yeah.
Is it, how much is this, I know it's a pedestrian question, Takuma, but it's true. How much does winning the Indy 500 change your life?
It's completely changed. I mean,
Really?
well, the way you are is not really different, but in terms of the how can I say, try to achieve what you want to as a dream. It's a changing life, you know. I mean, I've got the perfect environment for coming 2018. This is probably the best environment I ever had in terms of the IndyCar racing. So hopefully we can repeat a very competitive season. But definitely that was a significant moment in my life, and because I was dreaming over 20 years for the winning Indy 500, and when you become the dreams come true, that's an unbelievable feeling.
Again, the images of Tokyo, when you were so gracious to share the images and stuff, the reaction from people, it was massive. I mean, there were just huge crowds to see you.
I'm so lucky that I have got so much support from the fans and all over the world. But of course, you know, not only for the US but in Japan. You know, it's a little unfortunate that now we don't have Indy Japan like used to. We had in the racing over there, but still the people are following massively. And when I went back to Japan for the off season, there's so many events and appearances, and that was fantastic. One of the superb memories from last year was the actual original winning car at the 500. You know, Honda brought into the Motegi, and we actually ran that car. And beside on the Boguana Trophy, which, you know, over 83 years of the history, this trophy never going outside the United States. So that was the very first time in history, and I'm going.
Oh, I
to
didn't know
Japan.
that.
Yes.
Oh,
So
that's
that was
awesome.
a massive commitment from Honda, Boguana, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum.
So if you could run in Japan, if we could get back over there and run, was Suzuka, Fuji, where would you want to run?
Well, I think love to go back to Motegi Speedway because there was basically damaged by the earthquake back in 2011.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why we couldn't race over there. But you know, there is a great road course in Motegi as well, which we did it in 2011. Suzuka is always special. You know, I always loved the Suzuka because that was the first time I ever saw the motor racing back in 1987. and I went to the Suzuka racing school when I was 20. That's the first time I drove the race car. So that's got scholarship, and that's how I am. So Suzuka is always special, but I just really love to go back to Motegi as an Indy car.
Wow. Takuma Sato in studio, driving the number 30 Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing Honda. We were thinking, like, now that you're kind of like a huge American icon because you've won the Indy 500 now, when you come out, when they introduce you at Belle Isle, we should use this one. Dukes of Hazzard theme? Can we do that? Is that possible? Can we have you come out to the Dukes of Hazzard?
I think everything is possible.
But see, that's it. Because I was like, we were messing around with the other one, which was, which is cool. But Dukes of Hazzard would be good for you.
Right.
Is that your, actually, no, maybe Pen Pineapple Apple come out to that. That would be great, Matt. Well, have a great season. We're looking forward to seeing the testing and how this goes. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of feedback, and it's going to be a great season. Again, for everybody listening to this and watching, DetroitGP.com for Detroit Grand Prix tickets. Get all the information now and follow on IndyCar and follow you on social media as well. To your one last thing that you just stuck, when you were 10, you go to Suzuka and you see a race.
Yes.
Like the gentleman with his son talking about it on Facebook. And when you go to Belle Isle, do you realize that you're impacting somebody the same way? Potentially, there's a driver out there who's watching and wants to be a race car driver because of you.
That's great. That's great.
That's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. That's the kind of influence worldwide that you're having on people now.
I think that's the power the sport has.
Right.
It's not necessary for the motor racing, but I think that's really important to have got the ambitions and some trigger, for the kids to see actual activity. That's and the racing is the one part that's very exciting too. So I think you'd love to see a lot of potential kids, watching the races.
It's fun. Takuma Sato in studio with us this morning. Big Jim's house in our housecast area. Thank you everybody on Facebook Live as well. Say hi to everyone. Hi there, Takuma. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.